Welcome into tonight's Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split Excuse me, I ruined that. Top Split action from the Daytona International Speedway. I'm Austin Edstrom, standing alongside Sheldon Atkins, and Taylor Burris is behind the production booth today. A little bit different lineup up in the broadcast truck. But hey, we had a hell of a race last week in Michigan, right, Sheldon? Unbelievable. And well, if we thought that was that was a draft-heavy slugfest, the amount of drag on these cars at Super Speedway and the big runs that we get are absolutely mental, and it's going to lead itself for some mental racing tonight at Daytona. Yeah,
I am absolutely excited. I ran a Carb Cup a couple weeks back with these here at Daytona, and man, it was so refreshing because when I was on here last, man, this next-gen car, it was like the old Cup package was back in the day where it was one lane, everybody run the bottom and be stuck, not be able to do anything. Dude, these things, they suck up like the trucks. Like, it is absolutely insane, the runs you can get, the tandems that you can push, the stuff that you can do with these things now. It's almost a one-for-one of what it should be in real life. But unfortunately isn't, because NASCAR can't get packages right, but hey, who am I to judge?
It drives like the Gen 6, the late Gen 6 Super Speedway package. Even though it doesn't look like it, it drives very, very similar. You can really hook up with people, give each other huge bump drafts down these straightaways to build massive runs, especially if people get side by side in front of you. The side draft is unbelievably immense. You can create so much momentum off of a little bit of side sucking down the back straightaway, or if you time it right in the middle of the corners. So many different ways to make passes here. But it's going to be a high side dominant racetrack. You're going to be, it's going to be somewhat like Michigan, just without any lifting.
Yeah, and with that, we're going to see a whole bunch of chaos too. I'm expecting a lot of torn up equipment tonight and a lot of cooked tempers from a lot of these guys, because Daytona always brings out just a little bit extra aggression from the field, especially since for a lot of these guys, this is their one chance to win one of the SOF races this year.
Yeah, this is it's one of the rare opportunities for some of these guys, right? The series is mostly dominated by a few different teams, a few different drivers within those teams. And whenever you come to a super speedway or a place like Michigan last week, it does open itself up to some underdogs. But Sheldon, what are going to be your keys to the race tonight? What's it going to take for one of those underdogs to get up in victory lane?
Well, my standpoint is I'm mainly coming from a survival strategy, so to speak. Trying to see where my keys went. Where are my keys at, Burris? What you do with them? Oh, dang it. I gotta open up my phone and remember what I wrote 30 minutes ago.
Oh, my word.
Terrible. Fired.
Well, I said earlier it's a high side racetrack, so you know, you need to hang on to the outside.
Bear with me. Yeah, all right, so here we go. I'll just do them off the cuff here. For me, I always ride around the back. Let these guys wreck themselves out, ride around, the first 20, 30 laps. You're gonna have a couple big wrecks there at some point and start working your way to the front. Levine counters that point. He wants to come out here. He wants to Pied Piper this, do the Dale Jr. strategy, lead every lap of this thing from start to finish, and try not to die. Second of all, always try to build trust with somebody. Find a couple guys that you see hold a steady wheel, a couple guys that you know you can trust, get behind them, lock bumpers with them, push them to the front, make them think that you're your friend, that you're their friend. Then when you get down to those last 10 or so laps and it really gets important, try to find a way in front and hope to God that they stick with you. Then third of all, our typical super speedway key of the race, don't die. You got 20 some odd cars that are going to be packed together under a blanket. Somebody's going to throw a block the wrong way. Somebody's going to get a big run. Somebody's not going to live. Somebody's going to catch fence. Try not to be the guy who catch fence.
2 weeks in a row where you just don't want to die. That's a pretty good last key there, to be fair. But we're going to jump into our starting grid tonight. Qualifying is completely wrapped up. Everybody is gridding. About a minute and a half until this thing gets started. Emily Howell up on the front row, 49.248. Garrett Main, 0.06 of a second back, and he actually tied for that second place spot. Brandon Evans starts in the third place position. He ran the exact same lap time. Patrick Gitter starting in the fourth place spot on his outside. Tommy Gossett and Justin Levine heading up row number 3. Jacob Schneider, last week's winner in the NIS race, starting in 7th. Clayton Hoffman, he also won an NIS race last week on Thursday, starts in 8th. Roger Pierce starting in 9th. James Houghton starts in 10th.
In 11th place, we have Cody Porter, followed by Derek Heitman at 12th. 13th is going to be Brandon Bianchi, followed by Richard Garcia in 14th. 15th, Matt DiCiani with Alex Murray in 16th. 17th, son of Elliott Sadler, Wyatt Sadler himself is in here, followed by Johan Seminario, Scott Perfiti, and Shane Davis are going to round out your top 20.
21st is Nicholas Vroman. 22nd, Joseph Square. Joseph Galata in 23rd, with Zach Rinker on his outside in 24th. Aaron Vasquez in 25th. Felix Ferrer in 26th. Joseph Pisciata in 27th. Thomas Delcourt in 28th. And Jalen Handcamper rounds out the 29-car field here tonight from Daytona.
And this is a pretty star-studded field, too, man. Like, Daytona, you know, it brings out a certain set of drivers that you don't see most of the year. A lot of these guys that run a lot of Talladega and Daytona Hosteds that are absolute masters of their craft, find their way up here to the top splits, and can kind of sneak away a couple wins to stack that iRating for them.
Now, you can sneak away with a couple of wins to stack that iRating, or whenever you come to Daytona, or a place like it, you can get caught up in a wreck in every single SOF race you do, or every single official race that you do, and just completely tank your iRating. It's you know, you got about an equal chance of doing both. Doesn't matter how good you are at these things. At the end of the day, you've got to figure out how to survive until the end.
Yeah, and a lot of the Daytona Talladega Warriors too are a little bit dicier, a little scarier than the guys that we're used to seeing. You remember back in the day when we used to do this, man, and you'd always see like 3 or 4 guys from the same group that you see in what was it? I think it was Qualls' hosted sessions, just out here making absolute nightmares for the rest of us normies.
And now I feel like everybody's a nightmare for everybody. Like, it's just the way that the draft package is compared to back then is way more in the driver's hands. Like, you have more that you can do to work with, and you have more runs to work with, I should say, and the runs are bigger. So I feel like it lends itself to more wrecks for people just driving over their head, and also more internet issues. You know, the netcode kind of comes into play every time we get around the Daytona Darlington weeks in the summer. So I'm maybe a little worried about that tonight.
So real swift, before we go green, who do you think's got the best shot to bring home the checker tonight?
Oh man, the best shot in the field to win this race?
Who are you picking?
Oh boy, I feel like it's going to be an underdog type of night, to be honest with you. I'm going to go with Derek Heitman. I don't know why. It's just the name that rolled off my tongue.
Man, I'm going to have to go with Dale Jr. himself, the Pied Piper, restrictor plates, the guy that I've seen run more hosted Daytona and Talladega leagues than anybody I know of. I'm going to go with that one machine, the GridVision Mustang, Justin Levine.
It wouldn't be a GridVision broadcast without one of us being a homer. I can promise you we're not on replay, by the way. It says replay up on the top. I promise you guys we are not under a replay. We are coming down to the green for the first time here tonight, and it is live. Emily Howe on the front row, and we are racing from Daytona.
Oh, man, look at the run the outside line's getting with Garrett Maines up at the top. He's got Patrick Gitter in tow, locked bumpers with him. 4-car breakaway on that outside already, with Clayton Hoffman leading it up at the back there in 4th.
It's going to be a high-line dominant racetrack. That's where you're going to want to be to maintain position. You can only really make a move down to the bottom if you think you can get clear. If you think you can side draft somebody hard enough to completely kill their momentum. Brandon Bikey already bailing down to the apron of the racetrack, getting out of the mess. You know what? That's the Sheldon move right there. He said that's his move.
Oh,
Patrick Gitter making a big block down to the inside of turn number 3. Lap number 1, and Gitter's looking for the lead.
And it looks like he's going to get it coming out turn 4 here. A huge shot from behind from Howe. It's going to take a second for that outside line to recoup that momentum that they lost with Gitter diving down there to the bottom. But they've already got it back. Man, that outside is cooking. Well, that's why you got Levine pushing in second place.
Yeah, Maines, Levine, Hoffman. That's your top 3 on the outside of the racetrack right now. And then you got Houghton, and then you've got my pick, Derek Heitman, back there. And the big reason why I pick Heitman is because I feel like you got to pick somebody that is either going to die in this race from their own aggressive mistakes or win the race because of it. I feel like it rewards you, right?
Oh, Levine lost his bumper.
What? What? Okay.
From pushing.
Well.
Oh, my Lord.
A huge accident further back. Multiple drivers going spinning. Caution flag has finally flown. I told you there was going to be some netcode issues. I don't know why. Every year we come around Daytona to Darlington and the netcode pops up. It's like clockwork. It happens every year. These 2 weeks suck. And it's hit Levine already.
That is terrible, man. I could have swore that we paid enough money to put bumper bracing in the front of that thing this week.
And, well, there's my pick.
Oh, and there it is.
Good save, but might have some left front damage. Johan goes around, and I hate this for all these guys, right? This is the first race of the week, the big SOF race, and we're gonna have most of the field done in because of a netcode bump draft. Not even like these guys were just too close, and they were, you know, a foot apart and having to make contact and a spin happening. We had somebody get their entire bumper shaved off from internet. So great.
That is a horrible way to start this thing off, and man, I don't feel like we had that problem with the old damage model. Like I guess it's just this new one's a little more sensitive on the front clip when you're in tow with somebody. It'd be nice to see if Mains has any rear end damage from that.
I have never seen that in my life.
No.
I'm watching back. I mean, Levine's getting a bump from Hoffman, and as soon as Hoffman gave him a bump,
yeah, Mains looks a little flat on the back. If we get that camera panned a little bit closer. Levine's firing. I didn't work on the car this week, boss. I think it was Nick that did that.
I don't even know what to say. I've never seen that before on iRacing. But I mean, I told you the stupid netcode was going to come into play tonight.
Well, here we go. Not even a lap in. Both of our picks completely dead. Feels great.
Yeah. I don't know if we've ever jinxed people harder. No, I think Heitman might be okay. Might have a little bit of left front damage. Levine, though, he's going to have to get a whole nother bumper, and what I'm worried about with that, you know, you probably can get it fixed, and with this draft package, you can be a pusher, I'm sure. But did he get engine damage? Did that blow a hole through the daggum radiator? I mean, like, how bad is that in terms of the RPM for Levine? Or is that just bumper cosmetic type of damage?
Levine, how's your engine looking? She idling at 2K?
113 of damage is what he said in chat. That doesn't sound terrible. Was the RPM at 2,000 is my question.
I've won races here with more damage than that, so that's not the worst thing in the world, especially with this new damage model. You can get so much stuff fixed on pit road. So the only problem is, you know, did he crack the radiator by chance? He's idling good, so then he's gonna be good to come back.
Yeah, he said RPM, or he said yes to whenever I said his RPM 2,000, so he should be fine. I mean, it's still stupid. Like, I totally understand the physical contact net code of, you know, if they're half a foot apart, sometimes people's internets don't line up right. But a bump draft? A bump draft?
Yeah, that's pretty dumb.
That's too much.
I mean,
I gotta say, I've been ragging on iRacing under this caution because of that, but I did see an article recently that they have hired somebody who has worked on other high-level sims netcode engines, or whatever the hell, you know, their internet interface. I don't know the exact technical term, as you can probably tell, but they've hired somebody that knows his stuff about that. So hopefully the netcode will improve within the next year. But obviously for tonight, it does suck for Levine. I'm happy they're trying everything they can to fix it by hiring new people, but man, it's 2024.
And iRacing has done an incredible job of, you know, overhauling and revamping this service from what it was, you know, when you and I both started. 'Cause it was pretty rough when we first got here, man.
That's
like, I got here 17. I'm pretty sure you were maybe a little bit before that.
Nope, exact same year.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And,
yeah, they were definitely. I don't know, man. I've seen some bad ones.
The worst thing was they really flubbed, especially with this damage model and this tire model. They really flubbed both of those launches pretty bad.
I remember we were at a 2-week thing for the netcode this time around. That's probably because these two tracks are, you know, tracks where you really have to run tight together, right? It's probably not that the netcode gets any worse whenever we come around to these two tracks. It's probably because we are running tighter together at these two tracks than almost any others. Maybe you could say Atlanta, we're running a little bit tighter than Daytona, but Daytona and Darlington, you know, you're just side drafting the entire time. Even through the corners at Darlington, there's just no room. So the netcode bugs just come out and bite. And, you know, for this week and next week, it's going to be frustrating to deal with, I can promise you.
Yeah, and we're also tracking, you know, 30 cars at around 200 miles an hour too, which is also pretty finicky.
Difficult,
for even a lot of, you know, bigger budget games too. Like even Forza has issues with that. You know, like Gran Turismo has had issues with that for decades.
He had 1 minute and 13 damage off of a 0x. That might be a record. I don't know if I've ever. Well, I'm sure somebody's blown an engine off of a 0x.
I got a 0x instant and flipped before, so
How does that make sense? How is that not a loss of control 2x? I think that is the definition of loss of control.
I'm not sure. I swear those guys up in the tire, they make it up as we go.
Oh, man. Well, they make it up in real life, too, so at least they're consistent across real life to the simulator. That's why they call it a simulator. The officials suck in both. Now, iRacing is a code, though, so at least they have a reason for theirs to suck. Pace car is coming down for the first time tonight under caution. Coming to the first restart of the night. Emily Howe back on the front row after her pole. She's going to take the green flag, and we're back racing.
She got a really good jump there, but that's really going to bite her back quick. Gossett going to dive it up to the top here. Yep, exactly what I was expecting, right in front of Getter. Hoffman's going to stay on there on that bottom with Howe, though. Gossett does not have the help, and there's a third line forming up at the top.
Yeah, the only time the outside line doesn't work is whenever you don't have help, and there's two cars lined down on the bottom. That's how it was. Emily Howe gets cleared with a huge push from Clayton Hoffman down on the bottom. Gossett now has help from Garcia, chooses not to take the run whenever Emily pulled the block, and they're going to go side by side down into turn number 3. That outside line's starting to struggle a little bit as we get to the center of the corner.
Yeah, they're just not lining up, not really using the opportunity that they have up there on the outside line right now. You see Gossett kind of struggling to get to the back bumper, the 83 of Howe. Howe might also be, just a little bit off. See her, kind of struggling to keep it 100% steady, and it's really hard for the guy behind to follow when that's going on. Later in this race, probably had a deal figured out, but they'll go to the back right now, and they are really lined up there on the bottom.
Clayton Hoffman, Jacob Schneider, both lined up, nose to tail on the bottom side. Brandon Evans right behind them. The front 3 are clear for now. That outside line with a head of steam coming off of the outside of turn number 2, but honestly, it stalls out. They just don't have the numbers. Even without the numbers, I figured they would have a little bit better of a run down the straightaways. I'm just shocked that that outside line's not pushing.
Yeah, right now I think it's also coming down to who's, third in line, too. Right now you got Gossett going to look up to the top of Howe with a teammate right behind him.
Yeah, Gossett was probably thinking, man, we are plummeting. We gotta go, and I don't think that I'm pushing wrong, so I gotta get to the front and, let the pro Garrett Baines behind me push me. That should, in theory, work. These guys tandemed up, and Baines is not gonna get off the back bumper, not very far as we come through turn number 2. And they're gonna get a big push down the back straightaway. It's gonna be a tandem all the way down the back. That's what they needed. Tommy could not get connected to the back of Howe like Garrett has been able to get connected to the back of Tommy.
Check the nose and mains for damage, because I just looked at Tommy's left rear quarter panel wrinkle up midway down the straightaway there. Yeah, I just watched the left rear quarter panel on Tommy's car wrinkle up a couple inches. So I guess you cannot slam draft like we're so used to seeing here.
That's going to change the way we race big time tonight, if that's how bad the net code's going to be. His nose looks okay. It might have been like one of the ones that shows damage and then instantly fixes, maybe.
Yeah, I'm still looking at Tommy's rear bumper, though. I think it's still a little creased. I think it's not going to be enough to hurt him, but you can see there's a little bit of shading on the tail light there.
Well, you can see that it was a great move for these guys to jump to the outside of Emily Howe, because it's only taken them another lap and a half, and they are to the outside for the race lead. Clayton Hoffman has basically pulled a parachute down the back straightaway. Not enough momentum for those guys as that outside line is starting to prevail. Look at Tommy Gossett go.
Big slide there, and second car on the bottom line. I think that's Jacob Schneider. Got up in there behind Hoffman. Got ready to loose, and Levine 3 wide, 2 inches off the wall.
My word, if netcode just blew my bumper off, I definitely wouldn't be getting anywhere near people. I'd be a little bit scared of that internet, especially right behind the guy that just, blew that bumper off. But he's found the back bumper of Garrett Baines once again. Levine, all the way from 1 minute and 13 seconds of damage under that first caution. It's lap 10. He's already back to the front, side by side for third in a 3-wide battle.
And they're going to clear up there up against the wall. Top 3 cars breaking away from the pack here just a little bit.
Schneider just about found the left rear of Garcia. Garcia maybe pinching a little bit. Schneider a little wiggly behind Hoffman. Thought that might have been a bit of a moment.
Oh, Hoffman just about got hooked into the inside there.
Whew. I'm going to react to just about every little tiny wiggle and bobble that I see. And it's so minor, but I'm telling you, every little minor one can cause something catastrophic in this place. It's insane. Just any little squirreliness or miscommunication, especially in these 3-wide scenarios between drivers or just misreading how somebody's driving their race car can cause a big, 10, 15 car pile up. So every little bit or every little wiggle is going to get a little bit of a reaction from us in the booth tonight.
And I'll tell you what, I don't think there's anybody here right now that has a bigger smile on their face than Tommy Gossett, leading this entire field up against the wall like Dale Jr. used to do back in the day. Memory serves, Gossett was a pretty big Junior fan, so that's always a good little shot in the arm when we come here to these plate tracks. And huge run on the bottom. Hoffman hooked up with the 86 machine.
Yeah, Gulata peeled down to the inside from about 5th, and he has taken that run with Hoffman. Oh, tight. Tommy gets turned. Oh, slams it against the outside wall. Now Maines goes spinning on the nose of Jacob Schneider. Back across the racetrack they go. Multiple drivers involved. Huge accident coming down into turn 1. They're still wrecking off at 2. My goodness.
That is how fast things can change here at Daytona. That was, I don't know, from what I saw, that was no fault to Tommy there. It looked like Maines got kind of pushed from behind and shot down a little bit.
I think this is...
Oh, hang on. Yeah, I think we're ways back right now. That was the first one.
This was from the first, correct.
Because what I saw there, on what just happened, it looked like the third car in line pushed a little too hard and shot Maines out.
Yeah, I'm trying to check a replay.
Tough break for Tommy.
Coming down into 1. Maines enters from 2nd on the outside, as if they're going to run the very, very outside. Tommy enters low to side draft Gulata. And that kind of miscommunication between the two caused that, because Maine comes back down, swipes across the bumper of Tommy, trying to continue the bump draft, which gets Tommy up the racetrack ever so slightly, and then Maine's just, I mean, he has nowhere to go because he's got Levine up. His back bumper forces himself through the left rear of Tommy, because Tommy's, washing back up the racetrack. I mean, it's just bang, bang. And unfortunately for Tommy, he's the one that gets thrown out in the outside wall, and then everybody else getting spun behind. I mean, I don't think it's going to be massive damage for Tommy, but...
he's showing a lot of underpacing there a second ago. That thing was showering sparks all the way down the straightaway.
Never mind.
There you go. See Maines sideways right in front of Schneider. Nothing Schneider can do. There's nothing any of these guys can really do to react at this point. You're so close to the blast. There's nowhere you can really go to seek cover. Levine pinned up into the wall, tries to bring it off, hooks down in front.
I'm torn on that one. Like, me behind the wheel, if I'm at Talladega or Daytona, I'm a pincher, right? I get down there and I side draft the hell out of somebody on the bottom. So I see where Tommy's coming from and what he's doing. But you're thinking lap 12, 13, maybe because you're on that outside line and it's better, you just continue to have that run with your teammates behind you. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if Maines just follows him from the beginning, or maybe if it's more telegraphed, then I don't think that there's any problem, because they enter the corner the same way they've always done it. They just entered the corner in 2 different lines. So it's like, I mean, you can't put it on one or the other. They just both did opposite things, and unfortunately, it put Tommy in the wall and sent Garrett spinning. And
devil's advocate, too, if you're the second car in line, too, you got to be expecting, Lear to kind of make some little jerky moves here and throw a couple blocks every now and then and try to pull side drafts. And, it's just one of those deals where, 2 guys made a minute misjudgment, and it had a very massive consequence for all involved.
Yeah, whenever it happens for first, it's gonna take out a lot, right? It's gonna hurt a whole lot of cars. Especially
when you're in the corners. If it's on straightaways, man, people can find a way through pretty easy. When you either going into 3 or going into 1 or even heck middle exit, there's nowhere to go. The track just blocks off. You can't go down, to the flat, because you can't get the car down there to begin with without tearing the splitter off. It's just really, really rough break for a lot of these guys.
It's kind of the nature of the package too, right? You get the huge runs, and I remember, we were talking about back whenever we first joined the service, you didn't get runs like this a lot of times, right? It was a more precise, or it was a more measured type of race. This is just crazy chaos. Back then, you had to be a little bit more strategic with certain things, and
oh, you had to be, absolutely, because back when we first both got here, like, I remember running the Cup car here at Daytona for the 500 week, and it was, you basically just stayed in line behind the guy that you got behind and then tried to find a way to force him out on corner entry. And once they got to the top, they were going back, 10, 15 spots, so they found a hole.
There was a lot of single file racing back in the day on the super speedways here.
Because the outside line was non-existent. It was like NRs used to be.
And I'm glad that it's not that anymore. And I'm glad it's not anything like the the current NASCAR package. But maybe we need to prevent the runs from being so big. Because I mean, I'm telling you, they're huge. They're massive. And whenever we're talking about a game that is, it's marketed as a sim, right? And it wants to be realistic. If the cup car's not going to be realistic at super speedways, maybe we should make it where we're not going to wreck all the time.
Well, there's two things that play into it that I've noticed throughout the years. I mean, first off, yeah, the runs are huge. You got that little wall of net code that comes with those runs. And then there's also just the fact that we can't make contact the same way they do on Sundays, and that's just a proven fact. We can't lean on each other. We can't bump doors. Like you see these guys beat the absolute hell out of each other every week. If you even think about touching somebody,
there's a couple that can.
Yeah, but I mean, if you even think about touching, it's so overpronounced, the reactions that it has on the cars. Where if like you get on somebody's door in the middle of a corner, and you get it just the right angle, which is typically the only angle you ever get them at, it'll shoot your wheel all the way around, and it's just guaranteed spin. Like it's a little too dramatic, the reactions.
Well, we're coming up to another restart. Only on lap number 15. Already had 2 yellows. Pace car pulling off. Derek Heitman up in the race lead. James Houghton on his outside. Aaron Vasquez and Brandon Bikey make up row number 2. We're back to racing from Daytona. Heitman with a great jump on the bottom. We got a long line of single file cars that all took multiple pit stops to get damage fixed.
Yeah, it's really going to be fun to see who's got, a little bit of pace left, who doesn't. I mean, this has really abbreviated the field. The intensity of the runs is going to drop down a lot here with half of this field being junked already. So it should be kind of straightforward from here.
Mostly single file on the bottom. Front 5 broken away. Big move to the bottom off the nose of Brandon Bikey. That was the outside pole sitter for this restart. Falling all the way back, James Houghton. Surprising the outside line hasn't had a good start since the very initial start, but it's been a little bit of a struggle.
Tell you what, Hal's making me a little bit nervous, how twitchy she is back there in the draft. See her back and forth, back and forth. You get behind somebody and the car's not set up right, you kind of lose the nose and it gets real difficult to hold things straight.
Derek Heitman up in the lead still now. Single file still in the top 6. Garcia's broken himself clear of Bikey, but that outside line's got a head of steam coming. This is a little bit more orderly than we've seen so far over the first 15 laps or so. I think maybe these guys are thinking that we need to mind our P's and Q's a little bit. Let's get some laps logged. Let's get to the end of this thing, because you can make these super speedways a very, very enduring task, right? It can take a long time if we keep wrecking like we have been.
Yeah, I'm hoping we go clean from here on out, but it is Daytona. Kind of nerve-wracking to see Bikey up there getting pushed up to the front.
Making it work so far, though. Scott Perfetti is giving him a good push. They've gotten past Garcia, kind of sucked him off of the back bumper of Alex Murray in front, which has taken just one of those cars out of the equation, which lets that outside line get a little bit bigger run. Now they side draft Murray off the back bumper of the car in front again, which allows that outside line again to get pulled side by side with Murray, and will probably have a pretty good run coming off at turn number 4 to where they can do it again, maybe get to that right rear of Joseph Square and pull him back. Derek Heitman still up in the race lead. It's got stalled for him, hasn't it?
Yeah, just he doesn't have, a lot of good cars up there on the top. You need, a good amount of cars to kind of stack that line, get the runs going. Oh, huge move to the top. 2 of them.
Well, I just said the outside line stalled, and as soon as I did, they started moving again, but then they had someone way back, further back, trying to make it 3 wide. But then Aaron Vasquez peels out from second to the outside. He's got some help from Brandon Bikey, trying to take the race lead away from Derek Heitman out of turn number 4. It was a pretty orderly restart, but they're starting to get a little crazy towards the front again as Vasquez made a big move to the outside. He's got the lead of the line.
20 laps in now. Still a long way to go, though. 51 left here. Vasquez leading with Bikey all over the rear bumper. Huge tandem. Look at how far they're pushing away from that outside line right now.
How long can they keep it going? I do think that you can pull 3/10, 4/10 if you time it perfect. But it's tough to continue it. Vasquez peels down. Mikey getting a little bit of clean air. They all end up lining up back on the outside, and then Vasquez goes down to the bottom. Mikey stays up top. Vasquez has no help.
I think Vasquez went down there strategically because he had those back tires. Buggy had those back tires lifted off the ground all the way out of turn 2 into turn 3. I think he wanted to get away from that a little too early for that kind of contact.
Mikey, Perfetti, they pushed themselves up to the race lead after the restart. That outside line had a terrible restart. Got pushed all the way back to about 6th, 7th in line. And they have resurged completely. I mean, look at them all the way. The front 4 are single file up on the outside now. I mean, it is complete role reversal.
You said it, the outside line is going to be the dominant line.
Just takes a couple laps, apparently. I mean, the inside line seems to be the place to be for about 3 or 4 of them. And then that outside line gets to go. And, you know, a big part of that could be because we've got a good chunk of the field knocked out of it.
Look at how good of a run the bottom's getting now. Pulling even with Bikey here on the inside is Vasquez.
Emily Howe giving a huge push to Vasquez, pushing him back through to the race lead on the bottom.
We can see now, too, the teams are kind of specifying which lines they want to be in. Bottom line, you got the Ryco guys, and the up line, you got everybody else, it looks like.
Mikey getting pushed by Perfetti down the back straightaway. It's even between the front 2. Perfetti a little bit better push down the back straightaway, but Howe answers with one of her own. Pushing Vasquez back out in front as we come down to turn number 3. A little bit wishy-washy from Bikey up front, kind of squeezing the 12 down on entry. I'm just worried whenever I see that outside line now come down to side draft, coming down to the corner, because that's what caused that first incident, was a miscommunication between the first and second drivers on the outside. It was a little nervy there between Bikey and Perfetti coming down to 3.
Yeah, but right now the pace slowing off just a little bit because we got less cars in this pack, so the runs aren't going to be as dramatic. Easier to predict now. You know, you've only got half of the cars that were in this thing up here at the front now in this first group. Going to be a little bit more calmer going forward as the outside line gets a huge run with Perfetti locking bumpers with Bikey down the back straightaway here. Oh, and Bikey really nervous.
All 4 of them are bump drafting on the top line, and it's just twitching them down the back straightaway. I mean, it's making good speed, but as soon as you send one of them sideways just a little bit, it completely kills the momentum and ruins everything you had worked for. So you just got to be a little bit patient if you're the 3rd, if you're the 4th car in line. Maybe not hit the guy in front, but just get right on the back bumper without making contact. But look at Vasquez. He's got a huge run down the bottom.
Huge run indeed. Outside line kind of breaking off from each other a little bit. I think that the 23 machine is overheating just a little bit, trying to taper off. Oh, as they go 3 with a lapper of Levine on the bottom.
Queen is fading.
LaQueen is fading fast.
LaQueen is fading fast.
Oh my gosh.
Crab walking.
We got Sam Hornish back there.
Holy cow. Yeah, that does that does look like was that the All-Star car or the Coke 600 car?
All-Star car.
Oh man, that was crazy. He was unbelievably quick that night. Never did we ever see Sam Hornish fast again.
Justice is back there thinking, money, money, money.
Vasquez up to the race lead now. Emily Howe giving a better push on the bottom. Justice Square giving her a good launch from the third car on the inside. Third car is just as important as the second. You really got to keep that air bubble up. If they get disconnected from the car in front, you can give them a good shot. It's all about that third car, how well you keep the second car in it, on whether your lane prevails or not.
Oh, 3 wide here. Got some of the Conti cars poking out. They're tired of running around back here.
Yeah, Heitman trying to take the run to the outside. It was maybe a little too aggressive of a jerk. It kind of killed their run as soon as they got out there. They weren't quite lined up enough. But coming off of turn number 4, a huge head of steam out of nowhere. Derek Heitman's flying around the outside of Brandon Bikey. And they could get to the outside a second before we get down to the line.
I'll tell you what, that is a nervous feeling. I mean, 3 wide on the top, pushing the guy in front of you. Oh. I do not envy. There's a huge block from Vasquez, and he's going to take it.
That's going to stack up the outside line. A little bit of a Constantina effect way up by the wall. Vasquez doing everything he can to hang on to the lead. The problem is he's got a Ryco on the hood. The 2-3 cars behind him all have Conti.
It's going to be a huge run down the center of the back straightaway for that outside line. Vasquez leading a group of angry Conti machines. They dive back down to the bottom. Almost clear, not quite for 4th. Made it work, though. Yeah, that's going to send...
He's almost through another block. He thought better of it, though, but he's stuck in the sucker hole going backwards. And now the Conti cars have found the outside of the racetrack again.
And look who's working his way up into the mix here. Garrett Maines right there at the end of that Conti toe. Right in front of Vasquez.
Oh, super slow car down to the apron. Not quite sure what that was about, but he peels off, so hopefully we don't get a yellow for it. Gulata peeling out of the inside of the racetrack. Looking to get side by side for a second, but there's not a lot of help on the bottom lane right now.
Looks like they're trying to control both lanes right now. That's a Conti car, isn't it, Gulata?
I'm not sure. No.
He's gone rogue if he is.
Gulata down to the inside. And he's going to take the race lead away from the Conti car's way out there and slide up to the outside. Emily Howe now looking for the race lead on the bottom. She's got a huge push from Joseph Squared. Gulata is going to lead it at the line. Actually, I think Emily might have got him just barely. 9,000ths of a second between them at the line. Emily Howe back in the race lead.
That is a Conti machine of Gulata. The inside line right now. Getting a big pull. Joseph Squared locking bumpers with Emily Howe here in the middle of the corner. Down the back straight where they're going to get a decent run, but a little bit of breakup between those two. It's going to bring that top back.
The outside line faded. The outside line faded a little bit, but the front two are hooked up well.
Lapper right in front of them.
Huge push to Gulata. They're trying to use that draft as much as they can. Not going to give him a ton, but Garrett Maines peeks out to the outside now behind him as well. Oh, and from 3rd place on the bottom, a big move from the 27. Roger Pierce is looking for the race lead. He's throwing huge blocks on the outside.
No, man, this is all broken up here. Howe tries to go another 3-1 into turn 1. And they go
work. 4 wide down into turn number 1. Joseph Squared on the bottom, now down to 3. How in the world did we not wreck coming down into turn number 1? Roger Pierce has somehow taken the lead in a ridiculous 4-wide move down through 1 and 2. Garrett Maines all over the back bumper in 2nd, and Gitter now lined up in 3rd.
That was a bona fide Code Brown moment, if I've ever seen one.
You don't get away with that. You don't get away with that. This track is tight. This track is tight. You don't get a 4-wide call from your spotter. That's tough to do. I cannot believe they all hung on to it, especially with the internet issues we've been having tonight. Now Gitter, he's not settling for 3rd. He's looking to the bottom, trying to take it back from the Ryco machines.
Tell you what, this is making my stomach hurt up here.
Oh, I'm enjoying the hell out of this. Whenever they're not wrecking, this is fun.
The outside line really lost a lot of momentum there. That inside line really pulling. Emily Howe, and as I say it, it changes around. Here comes Gitter to the top of the block, and Schneider back down to the bottom. He's around.
It's too late for Roger Pierce. He goes spinning down through the dirt. Way too late of a block for the 27. He's going to keep it off of the inside wall, not get any damage. All he's going to need is a caution to get back into this thing, but that was just too late. Howe was there.
So lucky he didn't take flight there.
Oh, that's facts. After everything we've been seeing lately, yeah, you're not kidding about that. Whew.
Nice little slow-mo shot.
Down through the inner loop. Like I said, able to keep it off that inside wall. So, no harm, no foul.
Chalk that up into the footage that Pierce would never want to see again.
And that's an aggressive move that he kind of has to make in that. Well, I don't know. He's got a teammate behind him. Maybe you could be a little bit more patient and just pick the next moment. But, you know, if you're clear in that moment, you easily have that move done. That block that he's throwing, he's got more momentum than Gulata had. And, well, I don't know. I get why he tried it. I get why he tried it. Just maybe a little bit too hard to the left.
All I got to say is lap 31 does not pay out as much as lap 70.
That's fair. I see. If it was last lap, I'd totally get it. But, I mean, it's not like it was an egregious move. That is Daytona in a nutshell. Yeah, there it is. Roger Pierce having a laugh about it, too. I mean, you know, that's the thing. I've turned myself a million times, and I feel the same way. Sometimes you just start laughing as you go spinning.
Nope. There's Levine again.
That's got to be so annoying. I feel like
it's the worst feeling.
Especially after you go down twice. I would maybe call it.
It's the worst feeling in the world to be running test laps solo sideways for an entire Daytona race while the toe's knocked out.
Yeah, not the most fun experience. Now, don't know. I guess if a caution comes out right now, you could take a wave because everybody would pit and then hope for another yellow to get the lucky dog. But that's still, I don't know. That's tough. Can you even get your toe fixed whenever it's like that? Like, can you get all the damage fixed and it be straight?
No, he's stuck with his got now. That's full repairs.
Well, then yeah, I'd probably call it quits. Maybe you give it one more lap and then you're done. But
if that don't make you want to kick a fat kid at Kmart, I don't know what will.
Okay.
Theo Vaughn popped up in the timeline this afternoon.
Well, we're gonna, excuse me, as the racing is kind of calmed down a little bit, so we're gonna take our first commercial break as we've just about reached halfway, and leave you with that Kmart comment. We'll see you on the other side with some more racing from Daytona.
That's right. Let's go.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back. Clayton Hoffman just went spinning, coming off at turn number 4 through the infield grass, I believe. A heck of a time to come back. I don't know if we can catch a replay of that, but Hoffman, I believe, hung on to it. I'm about to look back a little bit. Yeah, the car looks clean, but he definitely took that thing for a ride down through the infield dirt. May have gotten a speeding penalty as well, or a pit road entry penalty. No, I think he...
Look at that.
What in the world is this?
Look at the rave from Daytona.
I think we're having a little bit of internet issues.
I think,
Yeah, let's screw the replay. It was just a solo spin from Hoffman. I think he got turned off of 4. We're going to go back live. There's Roger Pierce, though. We just saw him get spun a little bit ago. Now he's going 1 lap down. He's going to have to stay in front of Shane Davis. Shane is all the way on the outside, or all the way at the back of the outside of the main pack. So I think he's going to be able to do it and stay in that lucky dog spot. Because I guarantee you, we're not done wrecking yet.
Vasquez back up here to the lead in front of Emily Howe and Joseph Squared. Bikey up to 4th now, and Murray in 5th. Kind of single file up there against the top, nice and calm. Get a second line forming here on the bottom. I mean, that's not surprising. Gitter's doing everything he can to be contrary to what everybody else is doing tonight.
It's kind of what you have to do sometimes at Daytona. You know, you got to put yourself where other people aren't willing to go, or put yourself in weird positions to get yourself to the front. Right now, Gitter pushing Pisciata up to the front on the bottom side. Got a little bit of help from Maines. And the green flag pit stops are probably coming pretty soon, too. I got to say, right?
Yep. Gitter with another fire paint scheme this week. It's just that RCR 21, man. It does something for me.
Huge side draft from Vasquez on the outside down to Pisciata coming out of turn number 2. The inside line already gets a terrible run coming out of the corner anyway. Whenever Vasquez gets that big of a side draft, it's even bigger of an advantage for him. But it all comes back as we get down into turn number 3. Pisciata just drives it in way down to the inside. Got a huge run. Lapping Levine again, getting 3 wide. And that actually killed the run again coming off of turn 4. So the inside line is just kind of going back, coming back forward. It's not really like an equal run for the bottom right now. They got to get it a little bit more organized.
I just don't think there's anything you can do with those cars up there on the top, man. You got 3 fast hot rods running up there on the outside line, just a couple inches off each other. You know, pole sitter in second place.
Too, though.
Yeah, but that momentum up top that carries so much down the straightaways, it's just going to be so hard. Unless they make a mistake, somebody has to lay off because they're overheating. It's going to be so hard to get anything done down there on the bottom.
Oh, Joseph coming down in the side draft. He's trying to stall that inside line's momentum himself from third. Not able to pull Pisciata back. They're way down on the bottom side, trying not to get the side suck. Pisciata trying to fight back to be side by side for the lead.
Surprising to me is half of the Ryco fleet is down there at the tail end of that bottom pack right now. Look back, there's just a sea of red.
Maybe just minded their business for a little bit. You know, don't want to wreck right now, especially coming down to the green flag pit stops, because we know that's coming soon.
Yeah. Maine's just hanging out third car in the bottom there. I always like to be on the inside here at Daytona, man. If something crazy happens, I feel like I can get away with it, get away from it a lot quicker on the bottom than I can on the top.
Well, in a lot of areas of the racetrack, you can get down to the apron, you can go through the grass to avoid it. You can find ways to miss a wreck. And if they're spinning down, a lot of times you can get up towards the wall. But if you've trapped yourself by the wall, you've got a whole line of cars to the inside, especially if you're towards the front of the field. You can't go down, you can't go up because there's a wall. You're working with a lot less real estate to dodge these things. Man, it's going to be a huge bump on the bottom side.
If you're Pisciata, the one thing you want to do right now is throw something through Joseph's window net. Because every time he gets up there, man, Joseph Square just comes down, pulls him back, and throws him back to the Stone Age on that bottom line.
And that bottom line is struggling right now. I mean, I know that tire wear's never been a thing at the super speedways, but now that we put 43 laps on the tires, do you think that maybe we're seeing the inside line struggle just a little bit to keep the same momentum that you could on new tires?
Maybe, but right now, new mover down to the bottom. 86 Conti.
Gulata's trying to get back to the race lead. He's going to be the next one to challenge Joseph. Joseph's done a great job keeping Pisciata back. Can he do the same thing to Gulata if Gulata gets the run?
We're about to find out here, eventually.
Not too much movement towards the front. Just, these front 2 lines just trying to, I don't know, build any type of momentum they can get. But it's not been a lot of crazy moves here recently. Not a bunch of unbelievable runs like we've kind of grown accustomed to seeing through the first 30 laps of the race. The last 15 have been a lot simpler, I'd say.
Joseph not really trying to do anything. Emily Howe looking low like she's going to pull a side draft. Not quite, but here we go. Vasquez going to pull down to the bottom, try and slow him down coming out of turn 2.
Gulata just could not get the run. Everybody's filing down to the bottom side of the racetrack. There's only 5 guys up on the top. That really makes me think the pit stops are right.
Oh, it's pit time. We're in that window, just about.
Oh, Garcia just dipped down. It's just people are finding a hole, getting down. Now, one more pulls back out to the outside, but I'm telling you, those pit stops less than 5 laps away. Gulata's found the race lead now on the outside. He got a good push from the bottom. Vasquez Gonna pull the crossover. Back under him coming down to turn 1. Emily gives a huge shove to Joseph down into turn 1. Little offset from behind with the other Joseph. And that's gonna let Vasquez pull even coming out of turn 2.
Oh, real close, tight side draft coming out turn 2 from Gulata down on the inside of Vasquez.
Look at that shove
and
on the outside.
Huge run from Howe. That run came from Bikey, really. It's crazy. It's like
Joseph
watching.
To Howe to Joseph.
It's a lot of Josephs. That's Joseph cubed right there.
Cubed right there. If they end up finishing 1-2, that's absolutely what it is. A lot of guys started towards the back of the pack, able to get themselves up towards the front, up in the top 5. Guys started back in 26th, 22nd, and 23rd. Your race leader back in 23rd. Joseph Square 22nd, and 5th place Felix Ferrer started back in 26. So a lot of guys have moved through the pack, dodged those wrecks, took care of their car, got through all the attrition, and have made some good moves. A little bit further back, Garrett Heitman making a move on Vasquez. And Vasquez was just leading this race, and he's plummeted back to outside the top 10.
He's falling in with that Ryco train that's back there right now. They're back there trying to keep their stuff clean, it looks like. Run a little bit further back from, where the guys are pulling crazy moves. Can't win this thing if you knock one of the wheels out of line.
I'm surprised to see him so far off of the main pack. Like, typically before the pit stops, you want to be right there. You want to be right there coming into pit lanes so that, you can make sure that you either jump them to end up right ahead of them after the pit stops, or at least stay in the draft with them. I imagine the Ryco cars are going to at least wait a little while longer, use that draft to suck back up to these main guys, the main pack up here, and make sure that they at least come to pit road whenever they have a head of steam.
Trust me, one of them says it's go time, and those 6, 7 cars hook up nose to tail, there ain't going to be no catching them. Because it's just a numbers game right now.
Well, a big problem was Gossett was the one leading them, and I think he still got damage. So he is just pulled out of line and falling back to 5th out of those cars. So I think that they're going to start moving forward a little bit better. Vroman's still picking up his teammate, letting Gossett get back in line, but they're starting to move backwards even more now. I think Gossett might be more hurt than he thinks.
That's just a shame, man. Tommy cannot buy a break these days.
No, not at all. Hitter looking to the inside of Pisciata. Pisciata throws the block a little bit further back from the main, from the front 4. Garcia now to the inside of Bikey for 4th. Gulata coming down pit road. This is the first round of pit stops.
Whole bunch.
In cleanly. Aggressive entry from Gulata way down to the bottom. Emily Howell on the outside. Good entry from everybody. Very, very clean. Nobody locking them up. Nobody sliding. Have to make sure nobody slides through their box. Gives up the draft at any point. Now, how long until the Ryco cars come down?
Oh, right now they've just now picked up mains. You got Joseph Square to lead them on the inside. Think it's going to be a lap, maybe?
Here comes Mains on the outside. That outside line is moving.
Oh, contact.
Error almost threw a hit check there down the back straightaway. Pierce pushing Mains. Pierce, again, he's that lucky dog car. He's just got to keep himself up towards the front of the pack to give himself a chance if the yellow flag comes out. We know he's got a fast hot rod. He's put it up towards the front. He just needs that yellow, and here comes the Ryco machines.
Not all of them, though. A few of them stayed out there.
Another clean entry from everybody, not looking like there was any speeding penalties. That all looked clean to me. Everybody getting down into the pit boxes, making sure they clear that collision. Motion clean from everybody. And like you said, a couple people did stay out. James Houghton still on the racetrack. Jacob Schneider still out there. Along with
Looks
Roger
like Pierce too, yeah.
Yeah, the lapper of Roger Pierce now on the very tail end of the lead lap.
And these guys are probably staying out just, in hopes of a caution or an incident here. Just stretch as long as you can.
Well, you don't want too many people coming down pit road at the same time either, right? So you don't want to come down with too many cars to where you make it a minefield coming down to pit road. Oh, man, they're going to fly by them. The Ryco cars are all spread apart, not able to get off of pit road right, and the field is going to blow their doors off coming out of pit road.
I think they needed more cars to come down with them than what they had too. This is going to be a nightmare catching back up to this group for those guys in the back.
Houghton and Schneider stay in it? Are they going to be quick enough? They're just now coming out of pit road. Oh, there's no way the leaders just crossed the start-finish line. They're going to get past too. They are not going to be in that main draft. Wow. That is a huge turn of events. Only 2 Ryco cars up in the main pack. That's going to split up the numbers big time and give an opportunity to a lot of these other teams that are
oh, Hal with a huge run on the outside.
Individuals out here that are competing without a team, right? If the teams kind of get broken up or get wrecked out, it opens up the opportunity for some of these other guys. And, well, a couple of these guys in this main pack are licking their chops. I'm looking at Gulata, Bikey, I mean, Garcia, a couple of these guys might have an opportunity here tonight.
But doesn't matter. You got Garrett Maines right here at the lead with Emily Howe locked with him. She's been really sticking with those Ryco cars tonight. That outside line is cooking right now, too.
Well, and with 18 laps to go, if you're running second, if you're running third, you're probably pretty content with it, right? Especially with the way that the field is broken up. You don't want a yellow flag to come out and bring all those guys back into this thing that just got eliminated from the pit stops. So if you're Howe, if you're Pisciata, if you're anybody in this front pack, the last thing you're wanting is an accident. Just ride around, drive for a little while, and go crazy at the end of it.
These two are working on a 2-car tango up here on the outside. Getting a little bit of clearance from Pisciata there in 3rd place.
These guys all got broken up, right? They were side by side for a moment, and then got broken up. They're all finding each other again, but that did allow a couple of cars in front, or a couple of cars behind to at least cut the gap a little bit. Looking at Derek Heitman and the Ryco cars a little bit further back, but they're side by side now coming down the back straightaway, so they might have some side drafting effects hurting each other as well. They're going to have to do everything in their power to catch back up to the rest of these guys. It's going to be tough. Oh, it's tight between a few of them back there. That second pack is racing harder than the main pack.
I don't know, man. We're 55 laps off the board here. Everybody's kind of single filed out. Everything's kind of calm. We know we got a big storm coming here in a little bit, but how about we just sit back and enjoy the sights and sounds here? What are you thinking, Austin?
I think that's a good shout. I think we do a little bit of a Ryco rev it up for a moment. Oh, I'm on my way. Actually, I just got a wrecking in turn 1 call by the spotter. I can't find who it is, so looks like the caution flag's not going to fly. So let's go do a Ryco rev it up. enjoyed that little bit of a Ryco rev it up, and if you were paying any bit of attention, that second pack has caught the first pack. They have reeled it in completely. You gotta think a couple of those guys in that main pack might have trying to get the track position, stay in the main trap. Maybe those rental cars behind just made sure that they had enough fuel to go full the entire rest of the way, because they have chopped into that lead lap after lap by about a second, and they are now about to pass the last bar on the last part of the main pack. They are here.
Gonna be huge runs here, but everybody's gonna come down and block. They're gonna try and take that bottom, try to get into the front. A lot of these guys have been riding around the back, are really desperately trying to get up there to battle with Mains for the lead.
This is where we see the accidents. A big pack coming from behind, swallowing the main pack. There's gonna be some huge runs, huge momentum, and I'd be willing to bet we could see an accident. It's right here, coming down the back straightaway, spinning, coming down into turn number 3. Who could have predicted it, except for everybody? There's the accident. Some blocking up front, some contact, and we've got multiple spinners. I told you. I mean, it was obvious, right? Every time that one pack catches another pack, there's a wreck. Every time. But to be fair, it wasn't even, it wasn't like it was somebody in the second pack catching them. It was just they got there and it made everybody have to race. And well, we were able to race for about half a lap.
It's pretty hard to dust yourself off there when you see that pack coming really quick on the bottom, and
oh yeah,
you get so locked into nothing's going wrong, nothing bad can happen running single file like that. And right here you see Mains bringing it down here, throwing a block. Excellent camera work here by Taylor Burris, by the way.
Oh.
Tries to throw a double block.
Is that a double block, or did he get hit in the right rear while he's going straight? Well, I'm going to need another camera angle to see exactly if that was Mains coming up or if Pisciata misjudged the hole in the center.
Sure, we can get that happening. Mains walking away like a champ, though. Not a mark of damage.
Well, he's got some left rear damage, but that could have been from earlier, too.
That was from earlier when he was drafting with Levine.
83 going spinning. Emily was having such a good race. That's tough.
And
that's frustrating.
Heartbreak for her. Just did absolutely.
Behind.
Emily did absolutely run a great race. Did not throw a bad block or put a wheel in a bad place. Just wrong place at the wrong time. And there's nothing you can do to avoid it at that point.
I don't know if we can get a little bit at that main contact. I'm going to go back and on my own and see if we can get a little bit of clarity myself so that I can relay it.
Here we go. Things fine and dandy.
Let's just hope it doesn't switch to the same camera angle. Like, this isn't going to tell me anything at all. I'd rather see it from Pisciata's nose or something.
And we come with the initial block. Main's covering the bottom. Here comes Pisciata up to the top. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. It's hard to tell from that angle because if we could pause and wind back just a fraction of a second, maybe get a roof camera, that'd be awesome, man. Good view of the Brembo brakes on that 38 machine and the fire extinguisher. Man, we see it all. Got X-ray specs on that car.
I mean, I'm looking back at it in super slow-mo. Main's definitely drifted up. I don't know if there was completely a hole there.
I'd look at maybe the wheel.
Bang. It's pretty bang coming down the back straightaway. That's a good shout. Let me check the cockpit of Garrett Mains before he gets tapped. He's definitely turning to the right a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, kind of a lazy block there on the outside.
It's just such minor movement, but it is all it takes at a racetrack like Daytona or Michigan last week. Like, any little minor movement from the car in front whenever somebody's trying to make a move is going to make it difficult. I mean, it's two guys going for space at the exact same space at the same time. It's I don't know. It's a tough one.
Yeah, you're just, also at the same time, you're trying to bait that guy behind you to actually hit the brakes too. And when you get this late in this race, man, you got less than 10 laps to go at Daytona. Big split, a lot of big names. You're not going to lift. Lifting went out the window about 5 laps ago.
Well, it's all situational. Like, you get a run, you want to take it, and everybody's all of a sudden getting different runs because of that second pack coming up. So Pisciata, like, I don't blame him whatsoever for trying to make the move. Like, the hole was there. It wasn't huge, but there was a hole there for 3 wide. As soon as Maine saw it there, he just drifted up ever so slightly to try to put him off, and Pisciata just didn't lift. But, I mean, it's such tight margins. You're asking a lot of the guy to lift.
And also, if you're mains, you got to do everything you possibly can to stay up there in the lead. Because as soon as one gets by you, they all go by you, and then you're just setting yourself up to be the next wreck or get caught up in the next wreck. It is a terrible spot to be in, and it's impossible at this point to get back to the front from where you were.
And if you think we're done blocking, I can tell you right now you're wrong. I'm sure we're going to have another accident due to that fact. It's just, again, this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, if the package isn't going to be realistic anyway, maybe we should make the runs just a tiny bit less, right? Like, let's take a little bit of drag out of these things on the super speedways for iRacing. I just think, I mean, you're bringing too many equations into it for, I mean, a lot of guys that aren't pros. So, now to be fair, that one involved a pro iRacer, but the point still stands. If one of the best out here is going to be involved in something like that, then maybe the runs are too daggum big.
No, I can promise you we're going to have the same problems. Coke comes here tomorrow night, don't they?
No.
Oh, they don't run. They run. Yeah. Well, I can tell you if you go and look at a Coke race at Daytona too, they're going to have the same issues. It's the nature of the beast because of the limitations, the boxes you have to work with on iRacing. There's the slightest little bit of contact, just the lightest little touch, the wrong way, everybody's gone.
Well, and in Coke it's worse because it's a bunch of guys that are used to finishing 1st to 5th every single race they've ever run, and then they get on a super speedway with a bunch of other guys that are exactly like that, and some egos get in the way. You see that a little bit in the A Opens anyway. But coming to 7 laps to go. Hopefully, the final green flag tonight. Vasquez a little squirrely on the outside, doesn't get a good jump. Maines is going to clear him for the race lead. He doesn't really know what lane to block for now. Looks like Vasquez is getting a good draft, and he's able to get to the back bumper of Garrett Maines before we get down to the 1. Maines commits to the top.
Maines up there on the outside line. Bikey looking on the bottom. Inside line getting a pretty good run right now. Probably the best they've had all night on one of these restarts. Oh, Bikey is all over the place coming out of turn 2.
Yeah, they had a great run, but Bikey got squirrely on the front bumper of Rinker. And, well, they've gotten reconnected. So they look a little bit better down into turn 3. Bikey with a huge head of steam. Maines just trying to pinch him off, trying to let Vasquez side draft Bikey. Pulling that inside line back ever so slightly, and Vasquez is still plastered to the back bumper of Maines.
And it's working right now. That outside line is flying. You got 3 cars in line up there. Gulata back there in 3rd. Oh, Maines popped out of line here.
Vasquez is going to be the odd man out. He gets shoved to the outside. Gulata goes with Maines in the middle. Heitman goes with his teammate Vasquez on the outside. We're going to be 3 wide for about 5th, but let's let the inside line get away.
And this right here, this could be what... Oh, Maines with a... There it goes.
That one was too late.
Yeah.
I was fence sitting on the first one. That one was too late. Oh. Yeah, that one was too late.
And Gossett, unfortunately, finds its way into another one to no fault of his own. Oh, my Lord. That thing's killed at this point. Look at how much that toe's leaning in.
Gossett's done. I think Heitman might be pretty killed with that. I see sparks coming out of the bottom of his car. A couple others were involved as well. I mean, going spinning hard to the outside wall. Garcia did a heck of a job to avoid it. Alex Murray got involved in it. Levine finds another wreck somehow. This one's frustrating because it's like Maines throws the block and, well, he gets away with it, and the guy that hits him gets away with it. So it's like, okay, the block must be okay, but if the outside line is so stacked up that they cannot get blocked that late, at all, then it's still too late of a block. But again, the runs are insane, man. You get just a head of steam and feel like you have to make the block, but I mean, it is just a little too late. Gulata's been having such a good run, and he just gets thrown to the outside wall. Shane Davis involved again. I mean, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest because I'm completely honest with everybody in the field every week. was more of a self-clear than a block. If we're going to be real here for a second. Now, I can't tell if, you know, maybe that little bit of contact with the 86 there exemplified it before it happened. But it was, there wasn't really a hole there. He'd waited just a little too long to charge it up there to the top.
Yeah, I feel like if he goes, you know, a second
10,
earlier.
Yeah, if like 15 feet earlier, if he makes that move, it's perfect. Now, those are mistakes that everybody makes. We all do that at some point. Unfortunately, this is a really costly one for a lot of guys, and, you know, a handful of buddies too.
I can't believe
look at
you're
Levine.
still out there, Levine, to be honest with you.
Levine's got 24 seconds repairs left. All right, let's go.
12 laps down, he's in it. Bam.
Oh. Oh, you gave him a kiss.
So the
I knew it. I knew it.
I knew that LaQueen reference was correct.
LaQueen is fading fast.
LaQueen.
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 Do you know the way? Do you know the way? I need help.
You know, we came up with the nickname One in the Ding. Well, he's got a teammate.
Yeah.
So, I'm thinking we just make them a tag team partnership, right? Two in the rink, one in the ding.
Jeez. Oh, we hit brain. Hey, we made it really far this time. All right.
Look, if they're gonna have names that end with ink, I mean, look, I mean, well, to be fair, I guess his name doesn't end with ink. It's got an at the end of it, but like, you know, you can't have rink in your name or ink in your name, or else my mind goes to a certain place. So
I
two
see
in the rink,
Rinker,
one
and
in
I
the ding.
think
Unfortunately, they're not here together. Kind of sad.
I think Rinker stinker. I mean, he's run second, so he's obviously not a stinker, but.
Well, then should he be the second name then?
Oh my God.
Two in the dink, one in the ring.
Professional commentary from GridVision tonight.
We mix
Thanks,
professional commentary with unprofessional, and that's what makes us fun. At least in my mind. I mean,
Yep,
would you like to just watch
the
cars
time
go around in circles under caution without me saying the most stupid stuff?
No, I love it. I love it.
Exactly.
I'm along for the ride. I just don't know where the line is. So I gotta take about 10 to 20 off the top of what I'm actually thinking at any given moment.
I've kind of stopped caring where the line is and just thought I'm gonna have fun with it from now on. So you know, sometimes you just get stuff like that. Now, don't get me wrong, there's still a line somewhere, right? Like I can't go crazy. But we're gonna you know, we're gonna flirt with it.
Well, 2 laps to go. When they come take the green here, what are the odds of us getting the ever so loved green-white checkered at Daytona?
Well, we're getting the natural green-white checkered anyway, so we're gonna have at least one opportunity. One more opportunity to have a yellow, to have another restart. So only one green-white checkered in the A opens, so we don't have to sit here for 3 of them. Thank God. But
also, man, we got
2.
We got Bikey leading this thing. Bikey is aggressive. Every week we talk about it. Pushes every limit that he possibly can with that machine. You got him leading. We got Rinker in second, which, you know, somebody we don't really talk about or see all that often. This could be absolute pandemonium here.
You gotta know, Brandon Bikey is hungry to win this thing. He's got this opportunity lined up perfect. He is the control car on this restart. 2 laps to go. The runs are going to be huge. He's going to be throwing some blocks. Can he get it done? Brandon Bikey in the restart zone. He's going to be your leader in the line. 2 laps to go.
Good run. He's going to sit on the bottom. No, he's going to cycle it back up to the top because he knows that's where the run's coming. Maines is going to dive down to the bottom behind his teammate Schneider. Huge run. Oh, Bikey's left in the middle here.
Oh, that shucked Rinker out to the outside. Heitman didn't go with his teammate. He went with Bikey. Bikey all the way down to the bottom side draft and just trying to keep any bit of momentum, but Maines is plastered to the back bumper of Schneider.
It's going to get really dicey coming down here into turn 3. This is where the winning move is going to be. If we see one. Outside line getting a huge, huge pull right now with Heitman locking bumpers with Bikey into turn 3.
If you're on the outside, when do you make the move? When can you make the move? Pisciata a little bit further back is thinking about it, trying to get to the outside and make a third groove work. Coming down to the white flag. This is going to make it an official race. No yellow to ruin it. This is it right here. 1 lap to go. Brandon Bikey, the leader.
Outside line still strong. Bikey getting evened up right now, though, with Schneider into turn 1. Main's not lifting, pushing his teammate way out in front with Vasquez in third.
The outside line got kind of screwed. A couple of them went to the third groove, and it really broke them up. Heitman and Bikey, they still got a head of steam. Looking to the inside, Brandon Bikey to the back of Schneider. Heitman to the back of Maines. Mono and Mono coming down to the line, coming through 3 and 4. Heitman all over the back bumper of Garrett Maines. It's going to be the outside groove. Which one is it going to be? Coming down to the line. Heitman way to the outside. Perfetti's looking to the middle. Garrett Maines blocks them both. To the line. Garrett Maines is going to win at Daytona.
Holy crap. Oh, and Levine's wrecking again.
You can't make it up. You can't make it up.
How did Maine steal that?
My God. Poor Justin. That GridVision card took a beating tonight.
If we could get him up here, man. I'd love to talk about how dizzy he is right about now.
Garrett Maines is about to be pretty dizzy as well, doing donuts for the second week in a row in the A Open SOF. Heck of a finish. Second straight week that they've come down to the line just about side by side, photo finish style. Maines a little bit bigger of a win this time, 0.05 of a second, rather than what we saw last week at Michigan. Maines crawling up to the checkered flag. Gonna see if he's gonna do some burnouts or if he's just gonna park it down on the start finish line. Looks like he's gonna save the engine. Yeah, he's gonna pull off. So we're gonna go ahead and take our final commercial break of the A Open. It's gonna be an abbreviated one. Whenever we come back, we're gonna be able to talk to Garrett Maines at least and try to get in touch with our second and third tonight as well. Stay with us.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series.
Welcome back to the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split. We just finished the A Open race from Daytona, so we're going to get a quick look at our finishing order here tonight and do a full race rundown. Garrett Maines wins the race, second week in a row. He wins the SOF. Scott Perfetti in second. Derek Heitman in third. Joseph Square fourth. Jacob Schneider rounds out the top 5 with Felix Ferrer in 6th. Aaron Vasquez in 7th. Brandon Bikey 8th. Jalen Handcamp 9th. And Clayton Hoffman rounds out the top 10.
In 11th place, we got Richard Garcia, followed by Joseph Pisciotti. 13th place, Zach Rinker, followed by Tommy Gossett in 14th. 15th is Roger Pierce, followed by Emily Howe in 16th. 17th is going to be Cody Porter with Alex Murray in 18th. 19th is going to be Joseph Gulata, and rounding out your top 20 is going to be Shane P. Davis.
21st place was James Houghton. 22nd, Johan Seminario, Patrick Gator, Nicholas Roman, and Matt DiCiani round out the top 25 with Justin Levine, Brandon Evans, Thomas Delcourt, and Wyatt Sadler rounding out the 29-car field here tonight. It's going to do it for the full race rundown. Next up, we're going to pull up our back-to-back winner, Garrett Maines. Second week in a row that we've gotten to interview him after the A Open SOF. Last week was a barn burner of a finish, Garrett. This week, about the same, but a little bit more controversy this time. Heavy blocks coming out of you over the course of the last couple of laps of this thing. But at the end of the day, that's what you got to do to win it. Just kind of walk us through those last 20 laps.
I don't know. I feel bad because like those weren't even like intentional. Just I was misjudging for how much damage I had. Every time I got out of line, I was an absolute brick and just didn't realize the extent of it. Like, I don't know. I feel like I should, you know, but I figured we were all like bumper to bumper glued. I'm on the outside. I had nobody on my outside yet. I figured, you know, I'm going to get a good run and just be able to hop up at the end of the straightaway. And then, I mean, the run just grew and grew and grew. And I'd already committed to moving up and then realized how big it was. Just, I made some basically rookie moves, just not compensating for how much damage I had. I mean, I'm trying to find the replay on the one that is the second to last caution, I think. And like I went to move out of line and just hopped down in front of him. And when he went to split me, I didn't realize that he was doing that. Because to me, I was like, I don't know why you would, because you're just going to be able to clear me off of 4 and then move up. Like, it wasn't even like a thought that you might split me, just because that usually breaks up the line. Eventually, you're going to lose all your support. But obviously, that triggered something because I literally lost so much momentum as soon as I lost my health. I mean, I was just slow. I still had wheel damage. I still had a minute of like cosmetic damage. I mean, I was just kind of an anchor, and I played my cards right to get into the lead and kind of forgot, I guess, about the real position I was in. Just wasn't willing to give up the track position and risk getting wrecked again. So I don't know. I put myself in a lot of places I probably shouldn't have with my car, and got lucky to come out alive. Unfortunately, some of my teammates, some of the other guys in the race, like they did not. So definitely owe a lot of apologies. But you know, I was happy to at least get the win tonight. Just not the way I wanted to do it.
From the podcast booth, the first one felt kind of inconspicuous, like two guys going for the same little bit of real estate. The second one, I could definitely put a little bit more on your shoulders. But
yeah, the second one was just bad.
It's Super Speedway Racing. I've done plenty of those myself, so I get it. But you know, I want to kind of touch on one thing that you mentioned in your answer. You were talking about the damage and how whenever you lost your health or you were out front, you kind of became a parachute. How did you keep the momentum in it coming out of turn number 4? Was it that Heitman made too big of a move coming out of turn 4 and killed his momentum, or what was the deciding factor that let you get off of turn 4 better than them into the line?
I could not believe that I got off of turn 4 better. I'm going to go back and watch that to see if I can break it down, because I was very prepared to have to like make a block and then like drag race it out to the line. I was expecting to lose that. So I don't really know what occurred there, because I was hot with, pushing Jacob. We'd gotten way too far out. They were coming with the run. My entire intention there was to walk him up the track, and then when he went high, basically I would keep it close to him and like bail low, because I knew I couldn't stay behind him and win the race, and I didn't want them to just blow our doors off. I'd done way too much to try to make sure that, one of our guys wins the race. And then he stayed low. I was like, wait, what? So that whole like sequence of events was not what I was expecting at all. It kind of caught me off guard. And I think when I guess is that Levine, no, it's Scott Perfetti. He was pushing Heitman. I think it ended up like kind of pushing him out of line and getting him out of control a little bit. And so he shoved me ahead, lost his momentum, and then Scott got to his inside and stalled out the run. So if that hadn't happened, I was a sitting duck for sure, but it just kind of unfolded the way it needed to for us to be able to pull it off.
Well, hey, these Super Speedway races take a whole hell of a lot of luck to pull off the win, doesn't matter how good you are. So a little bit of lucky, a little bit of good here tonight. So congratulations on winning. Who do you have to thank at the end of this one?
Yeah, absolutely. You got to say thank you and sorry to the guys over at Ryco for all the work they put on this car. I mean, it was really cool to be able to work with them there for the last few laps there on the bottom and make it happen. So shout out to them. Also a big thank you to Scott at MCU Body, Lennox, the guys at FGR Excel, and Left Court Brothers for their support.
Well, Garrett, congratulations once again, back-to-back. Winning at Michigan last week, winning at Daytona this week. Gonna have to wait and see if you can, do the Daytona sweep a little bit later on this week on Friday.
Maybe we will see. It depends on whether I find a rig. I'll be at Daytona this week, so I fly in on Wednesday, and I'll be there all week. So.
Well, good luck, good luck finding a rig. Hopefully we can see you on Friday night. But either way, I'm sure you'll have a blast down there. But either way, congratulations on your race win tonight, Garrett.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, that was your race winner, Garrett Maines. We're going to get the stream switched over real quick, and we're going to go to the B Open right after this. It looks like it's going to be starting any moment now, so stay with us. Stream will be swapping over in the next couple minutes.